In yet another surprising maneuver, the US President Donald Trump has given the green light to tougher pressure on Russia. A bipartisan sanctions bill is now moving forward in Congress and could face a vote as early as next week. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says Trump approved the push after meeting with him on Wednesday. But this bill targets countries still doing business with Moscow, which includes us and India, especially those buying Russian oil. The claimed goal is to choke off money fueling Russia's war in Ukraine, which, as you know, is in its fourth year now. Lindsey Graham points to India, China and Brazil as major buyers who could face penalties. You see, up until now, congressional leaders had paused the bill while Trump focused on tariffs instead. But momentum is back and a strong bipartisan vote is expected. If passed, Donald Trump would still control how sanctions are enforced. So as Donald Trump has approved a new bill that allows massive duties on countries that import Russian petroleum products, this bill, sanctioning Russia Act of 2025, threatens at least 500% tariffs on countries that knowingly engage in this exchange. US Senator Lindsey Graham said that this bill, which is now headed for bipartisan approval, aims to punish nations who buy cheap Russian oil, a move that could directly impact India's energy imports and further strain our trade ties with Washington. You see, this bill states that Donald Trump must increase the rate of duty on all goods and services imported into the United States from countries that knowingly engage in the exchange of Russian-origin uranium and petroleum products to at least 500% relative to the value of such goods and services. This bill would give President Trump tremendous leverage against countries like China, India and Brazil to incentivize them to stop buying the cheap Russian oil that provides the financing for Putin's bloodbath against Ukraine. In fact, earlier this week, Lindsey Graham had said that India was urging Washington to roll back steep tariffs that were imposed back in August 2025 over the same issue. And he claimed that our ambassador to the US, Vinay Mohan Kwatra, met him last month to highlight New Delhi's reduced purchases of Russian oil and to seek relief from the additional 25% duties. My colleague Arjun Mahendran is tracking how this bill will materialize. He joins us with further clarity from the newsroom at the moment. Arjun, I'm given to understand that this bill heads for a vote to the Senate as early as next week.
Absolutely, Parmeshwar. That's what we're getting to hear. The same was shared by Republican Senator Lindsey Graham on his X social media account. Now, this bill called the Russia Sanctions Bill of 2025 essentially targets those countries which are still purchasing not only Russian petroleum here, but very importantly, Russian uranium as well. Now, that's something the US itself, in fact, has been procuring it's been procuring for a long time now, and in fact, it has not stopped procuring uranium itself. But there's a waiver policy that exists in the US for national interests. In matters of national interest, it can give American companies waivers. So Washington essentially can continue purchasing Russian uranium, Russian petroleum, but other countries, the global south, countries like China, Brazil, India, which have been procuring Russian oil ever after the Ukraine war started and there were disruptions in the oil supply chain globally. Now, this also very interestingly, Parmeshwar, here comes amid the Venezuelan oil bounty, crude oil bounty that Trump has discovered. And in fact, it's not only from Russia, but also from Venezuela. He's trying to cut China's supply of oil. And of course, India, the comments just keep on coming. Lindsey Graham, as you rightly pointed out, mentioned or rather claimed he met Ambassador Kwatra only last month, and there were talks on reducing tariffs. We'll need to, however, very importantly, we'll need to wait and watch how this plays out in the Congress next week. Because again, very importantly, Trump has mentioned, I will control everything that goes down. Back to you, Parmeshwar.